Let's get paid, y'all. Live dogs in the
What's going on, y'all? UFC 314 is upon us. We have Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. This is a pretty good card. Even the fights on here that appear to be a little, weak, I think they're going to deliver outside of on paper, right? I do think we're going to get a lot of finishes on this card as well. And we're going to have a couple upsets. Upsets that I might not even see coming, which lately has not been much of a shock. But I think I am feeling, I don't think, I am feeling very optimistic and very confident on this card. I tend to do pretty good on pay-per-views. Let's hope we can continue to do so. And yeah, so without further ado, let's bust it wide open. First fight is going to be Hailey Cowan versus Nora Cornole, or Nora Cornole, however she says it. Look, I don't really like either one of them. I just don't think they're very good, but one of them seems to be more healthy, seems to be more mentally checked into the game, and so I'm going to give the edge to Nora Cornole. Kaylee Cowan, despite her lack of skills everywhere, she's so bad everywhere that actually makes her well-rounded, if you think about it. Like, she's like, some people, they're bad, really bad in everything but one thing. Well, she just sucks at all of them, but she sucks at all of them the same amount. So she's actually kind of well-rounded. Her main issue here, I might have picked her, but her main issue is that she can't seem to stay healthy. She's canceled like 3 fights since she's been signed, maybe more than that. There's some issues with her gym and her relationship and just a lot of things that I'm hearing that I don't like. So, when you're looking at 2 women that don't impress you, and one of them seems just to be a little more clocked in, yeah, I got to take Nora Cornole. Hailey Cowan's not bad to look at, though, and I hope she sticks around. And then we have Tresean Gore versus Marco Tulio. I am going to take Marco Tulio. I think he's just a better striker. I don't think that Gore's going to have a submission threat for him. He may wrestle a bit, but this man will not have enough cardio or good enough wrestling to be too big of a threat there. I think Marco Tulio wins, and I'm pretty confident in that. Then we have Sumudaerji versus Mitch Raposo. I hate to see Sumudaerji lose. He's just turned 29. He's exciting to watch. He's cool. He's fun as hell. I'm a fan of the guy, and he's a favorite here. So if you were already going to pick him, don't let me stop you, but I'm going to take Mitch Raposo. I think he hits a little harder. He's got some deceptive power. A lot of the guys that Sumudaerji fought on the come up did not have the skill set like Mitch Raposo does. And Mitch Raposo is going to be a little bit more of a little bit better wrestler and probably got a little size on him too. I'm going to put my money in my pick on Mitch Raposo, but honestly, I hope Sumudaerji wins because he's too young and he's too talented to not be, in the flyweight division of all divisions. This will make a four fight losing streak for him, and I just hate to see that. So I hope he wins, but I'm not going to pick him. And then we have Cedric Dumas versus Mikhail Olendzejczyk. And I feel the same way about Mikhail Olendzejczyk. He's a guy who, trades 2 losses for a win, and he's been kind of doing that since he's gotten the UFC. This is a very winnable fight for him, as long as he doesn't get too stupid out there and get caught with a big shot. He has equally big shots that he can give back and probably bigger and better ones. I thought he was beating the hell out of Kevin Holland, and the submission finish was a little weird, right? He didn't tap. They said the arm was broken. I don't think it actually was. I don't know. But unfortunately for Olendzejczyk, if he can't win this fight, then he's not UFC level. And I can't say that. He's been in the UFC. He's proven his UFC level, but he's not going to get any better, and he's not going to perform any better than we've already seen. So I don't know what his future is going to look like if he can't beat Dumas. I think he's better everywhere than Dumas, and he should show that. But I'll be rooting for him regardless. Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. I hate to see either one of these guys lose. I'm a big fan of both of them. Darren Elkins, he takes a lot of damage. He comes forward. He can shock you. He can surprise you. He can do a lot of things in the cage that, catch a lot of people off guard. Julian Erosa is, he looks like a top 15 guy in some fights, and then he looks like a complete bum in others. He's just very inconsistent, and I can't put my finger on why. He's cashed for me as an underdog a few times. I think he's a better striker. The power is probably even, to be honest. Julian Erosa can beat some of the best guys and then lose to the other ones. So this is not a fight I'm going to be high to put my money on. But I am going to take Julian Erosa. You'd think, if he could beat anyone at this stage, he could beat an aging Darren Elkins. But Darren Elkins can surprise us. So I do always think that it's risky picking against him. Like I picked against him in the TJ Brown fight. And that didn't work out for me. So Julian Erosa, I'm going to take him here. Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. Chase Hooper versus Jim Miller. They're meeting at a strange point in their career. Chase Hooper's on the up. Miller's on the down. I do think that Miller is going to be able to walk through. I think Hooper will be able to walk through Miller's onslaught or any of Miller's punches. Miller's a little bit slow now, a little bit more tentative now. And once Chase, who will have a longer frame, gets Miller down, I think he will be able to outwork Jim Miller on the ground and probably even get a submission. Jim Miller is great at submissions, but if you're counting out Chase Hooper here, I think you just don't like him. You got to get over that. The kid's really good, and I urge you to look into his backstory. He's not who he appears on the surface. And it's just wild, man. He's been in the UFC since he's like 18 or 19. I think he's 25 now, so he'll probably fight another 10 years as long as he does okay in the UFC, right? So we're literally going to see this dude grow up, which is crazy. And some of those older fans out there, there's other guys that have come up in a similar way, and you probably feel the same way about him. He'll grow on you if he hasn't already. I believe he will grow on you. And this performance is going to be pretty good. I believe he's going to get a finish, probably by sub. Verna Jandiroba versus Zhao Yan, or Zhao Nao Yan. Yeah, Yan, if she can keep it standing, is going to be the better striker. Going to be a little bit quicker. Probably going to have better footwork. But I think that Verna is tougher, hits a little bit harder, and eventually will get her to the mat and probably hold her down and keep her there. And I think we're going to get a Verna decision. So I'll take Verna. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. This one pissed me off. I don't understand the matchmaking, and I don't like it. Dan Ige is a better fighter everywhere, and just a better fighter, period. But his record looking kind of spotty these days. There's some losses on there that kind of made me rethink just how good Dan Ige is. He should be able to beat Sean Woodson, and I am going to play a sneaky small little sprinkle. It sounds like a gay baking show, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna put a little, sprinkle on Ige here. In a money line, but I wouldn't parlay him. And ultimately, I am going to take Sean Woodson because Sean Woodson's length and the way he fights is just, I think, going to be too much for Dan Ige, who is much, much shorter. I think Dan Ige is going to have a hard time hitting and really connecting cleanly on Woodson and probably struggle with the takedowns. The only problem for Ige here is going to be that size, that craftiness, and that length of Woodson, but it's a pretty big one. So I'm going to lean Woodson. And I hate it. Nikita Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. This is another one. I hate to see either one of these guys lose. We have Reyes, who's kind of making this, what could be a comeback. I won't call it a comeback until he beats Nikita Krylov. I have placed a bet on Dominic Reyes. I think he is the better spot if you're betting on this fight. For money line, I wouldn't go parlaying it. Kind of similar to Dan Ige. I would throw a little bit on the side. But my faith and, the skill set overall, I think that Nikita Krylov is a little bit better at this stage of the game. I'm tentative on my Nikita Krylov pick, though, because we haven't seen the guy in like 2 years. And I don't think he's mentally, turned on. He's posted a lot of things about the war, and obviously a lot of things are going on in his country with him being on the border of the Ukraine and Russia. I believe he is Ukrainian born, but he is Russian ethnically. So, I think it's taken a toll on him. So I really want to see if he's going to return to his, true form, or if his title run starts here. So I do think Reyes is actually a sneaky pick, but I will take Krylov in this one. And then we have Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Pitbull has made his way over to the UFC, and they've given him a test right out the bat. he's kind of getting that Michael Chandler treatment. You know, hey, we're going to pay you a little bit more than we pay a lot of these other guys. You've established yourself. You've been around. You've been at the top of the game in these other organizations. Let's put you right in and see where you fit in. If he fails here, you know, I think he's going to probably just be a guy they put in to make exciting fights and, you know, keep around a little bit, but not for long because of his age. You know, this is the step that says, hey, are you ready to be right in the mix and get a top 3 guy next? I think if Pitbull can come in here, beat Rodriguez in one more fight, this is like how they introduce him to us. And in one more fight, he'll probably get a title shot. I really do think they're going to push him because he's put that work in, just like they pushed Michael Chandler. And I think he can do it here. You know, Rodriguez is a fun striker, a crafty striker, decent on the mat. You know, he's a mainstay in this division for a reason. But I don't think he likes to get hit. You know, and I think a lot of his back and forth, you know, if he gets into a slugfest with a guy like Pitbull, I don't think he's really going to have the heart and the toughness like Pitbull has. I think that Pitbull will look at outmatched, especially in the first round or two. But I think that Pitbull can survive and eventually figure out Yair Rodriguez and start to do some damage of his own. I could see Pitbull knocking Rodriguez out. Yeah, I don't know. When I look at this fight and I see if it's mostly going to be standing, I just feel like Pitbull has more chance of actually getting a knockout. Even though Yair Rodriguez is a better, more cleaner striker, I think that Pitbull can walk through that a bit. Put Yair in situations that he's not comfortable in, which we've seen. And and hurt him here. I'm tentative, but I am going to take Patricio Pitbull. I just think that he's got a little more power. He's got good enough wrestling to contend there. And I think it's a winnable fight for him. So, yeah. That being said, Rodriguez is great, and this is a close fight. But I want to feel like, you know, this is a fight Pitbull can win. And so I'm going to take him. And if he fails here, then, you know, I'll kind of know where he's at these days. Kind of like I figured out with Michael Chandler when he came. Then we have Gene Silva versus Bryce Mitchell. Yeah, this has been quite the show, man. A lot of talking back and forth, a lot of craziness between these guys. I don't really understand why Gene Silva called out Bryce Mitchell. But when I see his name here, I see that one is ranked 13, one is ranked 18. He wanted an easy way, or what he thought would be an easy way, to get into the rankings. I think Bryce Mitchell is a lot more live here than the odds are telling us. I think he's like a plus 300, Bryce Mitchell. We really haven't seen Gene Silva tested like a Bryce Mitchell can test somebody on the ground. But I don't think Bryce Mitchell is going to have the striking that Gene has, or the power that Gene has, or the momentum that Gene has. So I like Bryce Mitchell. I know a lot of people give him slack because of some of the things he says. I don't care about any of that stuff. And, you know, he says a lot of outlandish things. Some of them are true, and some of them are not. But I don't get offended when people say dumb shit, because I can read the comments anywhere online and find hundreds of people that say dumb shit. There's a lot dumber shit to get upset about than what this man says. You know, but he's just a little intolerable between all the preaching, and I worry about where his mental state is right now. I've watched Bryce Mitchell since he got in the UFC, and I didn't see this much stuff coming out of him. This much, you know, BS from outside the fight game. I worry about his mental place. And, you know, Gene Silva, we all worry about his mental state as well. But he uses that in the cage. And I don't know if Bryce Mitchell will. Either way, like both guys, but I am going to take the guy who's got the momentum. I'm going to take Silva. Then we have the co-main event, Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. I think this fight is a lot closer than the odds have it. Chandler can definitely knock Pimblett out. Paddy leaves his chin up a lot when he's striking. He throws a lot of looping shots, but he has gotten better with his striking the more we see him in the UFC. He is a guy who's improving all the time. And this is his big step. If he beats Michael Chandler here, he might be one, maybe two wins away from a title shot with his popularity. But, you know, Paddy's crafty on the ground. And Michael Chandler is a 1.5. He's a 1-round fighter, 1.5. Kind of like Conor McGregor, which is probably why they like that fight so much. Yeah, I don't mean that Chandler's just going to gas after that and lose. I just mean his explosiveness diminishes as the fight goes. So the threat to Paddy is going to be there less and less. And eventually Paddy will be able to get him down, will be able to take his back, and I think he can submit him. I think he will give Paddy some trouble in the first round, but this is a Paddy fight for me. And if I'm wrong, you know, it's okay. I'm prepared to be wrong because I'd like to see Chandler get a win. He's fun to watch. He's getting older in his career, and I want him to hang around. If not, you know, he seems like a guy who would be a great coach, great on the desk, and you know, in the commentary booth and all that. And I think that's where he's headed, because I think Paddy is going to get a finish here. So I will take Paddy the Baddy. Then we have Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopez. I went back and forth on this. You know, who's the better fighter? It's Alexander Volkanovski. Who's the more accomplished fighter? It's Alexander Volkanovski. Lopes kind of feels like a flash in the pan to me. You know, this big guy that's coming out, going to have that Benoit Saint Denis kind of thing going on, and then get this far and not quite make it. We already know that Lopes is the son of Movsar Evloev. Movsar Evloev already wiped the floor with him. But Volkanovski's not as good a wrestler as Movsar, so he's not going to be able to put on a wrestling clinic. He will be able to win the striking, but I don't think he's going to have the power to hurt Lopez. And I think Lopez will eventually find the shot that he needs that could put Volkanovski out. If they were meeting a few years ago, I would feel different. But Volkanovski's coming off of 2 KO losses. His aura, just everything about him is just kind of different now. I think he has slipped from championship level. He could still beat a lot of guys in this division, but I don't think he deserved this rematch. If you're coming off a loss, you shouldn't get a title shot. That's just my opinion. On top of that, if you just got knocked out, you shouldn't be getting a title shot. I don't care what you've done before. You know what I mean? That's not relevant. It's what have you done for me lately? And my lights went off here. Give me a sec. So for me, I gotta go with the new shiny thing. The new shiny thing. Shit. Oh well, we're about to wrap it up. Yeah, the new shiny thing is gonna be Diego Lopes. I think that he will not look better, much like a lot of Volkanovski's losses. But eventually, a finish will come. The heart, the youth, you know, the hunger is going to come through. And I think Volkanovski will probably lose here, and he may retire. So, yeah, hate to see it. Much like I said about a lot of fights on this card, I hate to see anyone lose. But it's probably going to be Volkanovski. So, those are my picks, y'all. Feeling pretty confident on this card. I like Cornoli. I think that's a solid play. I believe that fight will go over. Tulio, solid play. I think Mitch Raposo is a good dog here. I would probably stay away from Dumas and Oleg Zajic, but I would take Oleg Zajic. I'd stay away from Julian Erosa as far as parlays go. Hooper's good if he doesn't get too high up, in the sports books. Verna definitely should win. Gene Silva, and so I will get all of my parlays and official picks to y'all like I always do tomorrow. I appreciate the love, appreciate the hate, appreciate the discourse. Until I see you next time, let's get paid, y'all.
Let's get paid, y'all. Live dogs in the mix. Live dogs in the mix.